Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, everybody has a different idea of what a trophy is. You know, to a 10-year-old kid, the trophy may be the spike buck that he shot this year. To a guy that's been hunting all over the place, something like this would be considered a trophy, or any of these. But there is a way to figure out if it's big enough to go into a record book. An antler measuring session was done at the Pennsylvania Game Commission. And when I tell you, we saw some big bucks, some bear heads, and an elk. Jerry Capral starting off the story with us.
Don, we're at the Northeast Regional Office of the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and what we're doing here today is holding a big game scoring program. It's been at least 10 years since we've had an organized scoring session like this in the region, so it's a good opportunity to get hunters together, let them bring in their racks, get them officially scored. Maybe we have some that might be eligible for inclusion in the Pennsylvania Big Game Record Book, but also not only the racks, but bear skulls also. So we're doing antlers, elk antlers also, and bear skulls, but wildlife that was taken here in Pennsylvania. Again, it's only because we're measuring for inclusion in the PA Records Book. The only minimum requirement is the rack has to be, as per Boone and Crockett, it has to dry for a minimum of 60 days before it could be brought in. So if it was killed last year, or if it was killed 35 years ago, maybe somebody found an heirloom or something like that and they're curious, whatever, as long as it's meets the minimum requirements here, we're going to score it. We've got close to 40 racks. We had 7 bear skulls and 1 elk. So that's what we have here right now. We may get 1 or 2 walk-ins that heard about it at the last minute. We're certainly not going to turn them away. We have more than enough scorers here that we can accommodate everybody. They may have to wait a little bit, but again, it's a free scoring session, and again, it's a chance to show off what you got, interact with some of the other hunters, and brag a little bit.
Warden Vic Rosa is one of the scorers for today's event.
We have several certified Boone and Crockett, Pope and Young scorers here today. That's a week-long class. We do all 38 North American species. So it's a great event where hunters can have some direct interaction with Game Commission employees. We have foresters here, biologists, certainly game wardens.
So as a measurer, there is a protocol that you follow, so everybody's getting measured the same way, right?
Absolutely, and we use the equipment is very simple. But we all use the same exact equipment. The idea behind this is so that we all do the same thing. And one of the things is the public's coming in, the hunters are coming in, but they're getting an education. They're learning how they can do it. They can do it for their friends. I mean, it may not be official, but they'll still get a better idea on how they can actually score the animals. They learn how they can score it, like if they see a deer in the woods or in the field, they'll get a better understanding of what that deer may score. So we're going to take a couple measurements right off the bat. There's some we take that aren't part of the score, and there's some that this part of the score. So the first one will be this tip-to-tip measurement. Okay. So you're going to see that your tip-to-tip is not going to be that wide. No. Because it comes right around. Yes. So that would be not, so if we're going to do numbers, that wouldn't be good for you. Okay. As opposed to a deer that comes out like this. Okay. So that's why this score doesn't count. Oh. Okay? So, but we take it anyway. Yeah. Do what you have to do. Okay, that'd be 3 for A. Okay, then our next score, which will count, is going to be, okay, just turn it over here. Okay. This is our inside spread, and if you look, so we don't want to do this or this. Okay. So I'm actually going to feel with my finger. I'm going to go here. I'm going to feel that this is going in and out. So we're going to see the greatest inside spread. I stay in the middle, and I bring it one way, other way, and I can feel it moving. Yeah. All right. All right. 13.6 inside. We all use the same cable, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take the main length on both of these antlers right now. You can see how I'm holding this down like this. Yeah. Okay, put your finger right there. See that? We may need Don's fingers too here in a second. So now I'm following the center. All right. Okay, you can let go of that. Tape's good. And if you notice, like this antler actually has a groove. There's actually a groove right here, so it lays right in there, which is pretty neat. Yep.
I was glad he didn't break any fighting. Usually they break them off.
Yes, they do.
Perhaps he didn't have no rivals where I shot him, so nobody messed around with him.
Okay, 20 and 3/8 on main being on the left side.
Vic systematically takes all of the measurements required for the scoring. We'll speed things up, but the entire process could take up to an hour.
Okay, so here's the great reveal.
Should I stand up?
Okay, so what would you like it to be?
I was thinking in the 130s. That's
Okay,
what I was thinking.
so you're pretty close actually. So it grossed 125 even.
Okay.
So with deductions, and you had some deductions because of the abnormal points, and then you had an extra point on the other side. So you had a total of 15 abnormal subtraction, which came out to 109 and change. Okay. So which is still an outstanding. So you're there, you know what it scored. What you tell everyone is, I got a 125. 125. This is an outstanding deer. I would never pass it up. And that's why you're here, just to see what it wound up scoring.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And everybody knows when Gary Ault first proposed this antler restriction, he was going to be hung, from a high oak tree, run out of town on rails and stuff now. But almost everyone that you talk to certainly agrees that, yep, what he did was certainly beneficial. When you go today, when we stop, especially at the deer processors during hunting season, normally now, you see 8 to 10 point racks, and they're 2.5 to 3.5 year old deer. And again, it just proved his point. Give the deer a little bit of chance to grow, and they're going to get big. Plus, we have the good habitat here, too.
There you had it. What a great organized event. Happens every other year or so. I wonder what this would score. Maybe next year, I'll take this one in. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.